Yo, guys! Holla, holla! It is me, myself, and I, the Dark Shadow Maverick. The Dark Shadow Maverick Nation. My one of the beautiful brus guys, and one of the beautiful bruskies of the Dark Shadow Maverick Nation. And you guys might be wondering, what the hell did I decide to do with all this? Well, it's simple. 3 letters. E.G. In the middle of an EEG at my own house. And, well, basically, I have decided that I'm gonna bring back an oldie but a goodie. Yes, one of those that was an oldie but a goodie, and my stupid ass accidentally deleted the first 2 parts of the original. So, yeah, and by the way, I'm not just gonna freaking, just leave it to the wind, the wayside, and not do my air voice anymore. For this, I will indeed be doing my air voice. Because this is, my friends, this is what if. Actually, now that I'm thinking about this, seeing as it's bringing back an oldie but a goodie, I'm thinking maybe it shouldn't be Izuku, but it should be. Actually, no. Gotta think straight. Basically, what if Izuku was Air-san's son? So, yeah. Basically, part 1, when we start part off 1 here with basically, we started off part 1 with Air and Ink. Air Ink, basically, they have been beating the ever-living tar out of each other. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, Ink. This has gone on long enough. I'm leaving. And Ink would just be like, error. And, just try to follow him. But he would close the portal, from behind him. And so Ink would just smack, boom, and just fall straight to the floor. And they were pretty high up whenever they were flying into the portal thing. So he pretty much the equivalent of terminal the freaking velocity. Oh, by the way, guys, the side note, if you guys want me to do, a redo of Spider-Man, what if Izuku was Spider-Man? I could do that, or I could do the what if Naruto was Spider-Man? Maybe if you guys, decide to help a brother out, help me decide, we could have a redo of that. Or a funny little spin on a redo of that. So anyways, now getting back to the story. Basically, Ink is like, whatever he goes to next, Air is going to spread all sorts of destruction. And then it's just cut to Murasaki, Japan. And Air is like, This brings back good old memories. The very good memories. Now I wonder what happened to Inko. And so that's exactly what Era would be doing. He's just like poof, juice it all the way over to Inko's house. And Era would notice that Inko was kind of chopping broccoli. You know, she's kind of like preparing, you know, some of that good old me likey the dinner. uh, anyways, but air would also send another pressure, but this wouldn't feel like ink. This would feel similar to itself, and he would think, well, it doesn't need fit similar to himself. It also fits like the description of what would be considered a human soul. And basically, Eric kind of flips a little bit, you know, a good bit, and he's just like, it's like a human soul and a monster soul and become God. And Eric would just be like, that cannot be good. As until he actually, you know, goes towards where the energy source was from, and he would figure out that the human source was from Inko, and the air source would have been from, you know, the monster source would have been from Error, making this being sort of like their child. And that's where Error would remember some repressed memories, you know, the last time he saw Inko. And that's basically when would have basically left, so it would seem like they weren't affiliated with him so that they wouldn't be targeted. And Enko and their soon to be born child. That's why he was never around. That's why Izuku never really knew his father at all, or that he even had one. Because Error didn't want them to be targeted. So he left. And had like anything to do with them. Just in order to keep them safe. Rather than sorry. And basically, what he does indeed see, what Error does indeed see, is that Izuku, he looks pretty damn depressed. And Error, you know, around this time, Izuku would probably be like a 5. And Error was thinking in his head, wait, if he's 5, then that means Quirk Doctor. Oh no, it can't not be. It can't be. And Izuku is just like, just that look, and automatically Error knows he's quirkless list. This cannot be happening right now. And basically, you know, they're basically remembering something that he heard about. Basically, if he didn't have a quirk, then he would have like their powers or his powers, more or less, or like equivalent to both a monster and a human. And basically, like was said, a human and a monster soul fused together is what is used in order to create basically God. And so basically, Izuku in this is a god. and he doesn't even know it yet. And note I said yet. And basically, Izuku, being his 5-year-old innocent cinnamon self, sees this gun and he thinks it's a toy. Yet it is actually a real gun, a loaded real gun, and it has the safety off. And when Ero realizes this, that Izuku doesn't actually think it's a real gun, and Ero's like, oh shit, he's about to shoot himself. Yeah, Izuku doesn't think it's a real gun, so he's just about to point it to his chest. And basically, at the last second, Ero shoots a blast out of magic, blue magic. And it hits right at the same time that the bullet hits. But something strange about that is, with being blasted with the blue magic, it awakens his latent powers ahead of time. And now he has become God, or a god. But he still doesn't really know the full extent of it, or at all. All that much, at least. As until Inko, having heard the sound, and finally remembering how she forgot to turn the safety off, and she forgot to leave loaded guns away from Izuku. And technically, the only reason that Ero Sans believes that Inko would even have a gun is for protection, seeing as Ero was no longer there to protect them. This was so far back that Ero didn't even know the gender of his child. Now he knows he has a son. And, well, that's just wow. Hot damn. Hot diggity damn. That sounds like a parakeet on drugs. Anyways, basically, Sans having pretty much dropped any sort of disguise, really flipping out, seeing Izuku about to freaking 69 himself all the way to hell. And basically, Inko sees Ero, and Inko's like, Ero? And Ero's like, Inko. Oh, shit. And Izuku would be like, look at Ero, look at Inko, look at Ero, look at Inko. And just would be generally confused. And, well, basically, Inko and Ero would have to drop the bullshitting. They'd have to explain to Izuku as much as they could without really, truly, digging down deep. And basically, the whole form of, telling him the basic business stuff. Basically, that he is the son of, well, indeed, her, the Inko, but also the son of Error, who's basically, the guy who destroys all the glitches and AUs. He's basically a force of nature beyond that of nature itself. He's a force of nature against all, AUs that to him seem like trash. Basically, gets rid of the trash because no one else seems to be doing the job, so he decides to do it. And also, kind of, in order to prepare Izuku for the harsh truths of the future, basically, Ero decides that, Inko, you don't have to tell him, I'll tell him. And basically tells him about Ink as well, and how Ink and Ink and Ero kind of balance each other out. Because one is a force of destruction through being a force of nature, and vice versa. And the other is just this a source of creation and, well, being. So one is basically destruction and one is creation. but also informs Izuku that technically destruction doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It doesn't always have to mean bad. So yeah, basically Izuku's informed, and now we're gonna do a time skip to basically Izuku 15. And this is past all the All Might stuff. With Izuku refusing All Might's quirk, even though he did do this stuff before that was canon, was saving him, like basically him getting saved, and then him saving Bakugo. Against the behest of all the other heroes, we're just gonna watch the whole thing pan out. And All Might, punching, and just changing the weather with his punch. And, well, it's basically after all of that, it's basically Izuku just walking up, and he's just like, oh man, I can't believe Dad's still so hard on me about teleportation. And then, basically, he gets the perfect excuse to teleport. And he also sees that somebody's trying to use their quirk on him. And he's like, hey, does that girl think I'm going to trip? And again, I don't think she knows that I know how to teleport. And so he just teleports from one side of the uneven tile to the other. And this girl is just like, what? Nani? And Suku's just like, thanks. But I can teleport. And, Ochako, because it would be Ochako. Ochako would basically be like, well, I didn't want you to trip, but I didn't know you could teleport either. Now I just feel stupid. Yeah, so basically that whole thing. And so basically they go in to take the entrance exam, but first, like, a bump in another run-in with Bakugo. And basically, Bakugo doesn't even do anything to Izuku because he remembers the last time he tried to pull any of that. Like the last time they got an encounter before, the thing with the sludge villain, basically the last day of middle school. Whenever Bakugo tried to bully Izuku had basically had enough and decided to play with his strings. Yes, he can even use the blue strings. Although one thing I am going to change is that for Izuku, his strings are green and glowy. So, yeah. Glowy green strings. But they still hurt all the same. They're really painful. So, yeah, basically, after getting string tortured that one time, Bakugo, he basically decides to pull a Sasuke, be like, it's like an indignant, it's like, he's just like, asshole. And Ochako would be like, I agree that he's not exactly that nice either. And basically, he's just like, well then, let's go and try to stay as far away from him as possible, or else he really will be put through the ground. Just my luck, I gotta run into him. And basically, what happens? Basically, it would be the written exam, and pretty much no diff Izuku would win. For the written exam, he would beat that. But whenever it came to the practical, well, 1 pointers, 2 pointers, 3 pointers, oh my. Yeah, but oh my, and the fact that Izuku's are going to be wrecking their shit. And basically, yeah, Izuku would seem pretty proud of himself. So he just found the tallest skyscraper in the model city, and he would just get on top of it, just start freaking, you know, doing a little something special. You know, I think it's either a trumpet or a trombone that Sans has in Undertale. That one scene, or a trumpet and a trombone, the same damn thing. I don't know, but he's practicing. On top of the tallest skyscraper in the model city, just practicing. And seriously, guys, please tell me the difference between a trumpet and a trombone, if there any difference, or if I'm just stupid, losing my damn mind over here. God forsaken mind. I'm basically, the funny thing about this is all of a sudden we're like, and Izuku would just fall on his face, and he'd just be like, "Damn it! What the hell was that? Who the hell was that?" And I'm going to end them. And then he'd basically just hear, "Help! Somebody help me!" And then Izuku would be like full standard attention. He would basically be like, he'd be full standard attention mode, and just see Ochako stuck underneath some rubble and about to get stepped upon by the 0 pointer. And now, for me to just try my best at this, hope it works. You just pop in front of the 0 pointer, and a 0 pointer would be like, "Huh?" And he would just be like, phew, and all the rubble would go off, and then he would like do some like green magic and heal like Ochako, and just like teleport her to recover girl, and then teleport back, all in the matter of like 0.2 seconds, 0.2 and a half seconds, and I'd just be like, it's a beautiful day outside. Birds are singing, flowers are blooming. Days like this, hunks of junk like you should be burning in hell. And basically, it'd be some like stronger than you sans memes, and basically, whoever just completely annihilated the 0 pointer by ripping the core out, and well, basically throwing it like 360 and like drilling it through the inside, and like a boom, with a mushroom cloud of death. And that's basically whenever this big ass explosion would just trigger Ink's air sand senses, and he'd just be like, "That power is unmistakable. It has to be him." And so basically, right as Air is about to, come out of nowhere and like congratulate Izuku because, Air Sans decided he wanted to record this shit on camera. Overprotective dad mode. And so, yeah. As he's about to go up there and, congratulate Izuku, this happens. Like, boosh! Error. What is the meaning of this? And Harrison's just like, what are you talking about? And then he just like stops, like, no. And he's like, Izuku's just like, Dad? Who? Wait, is this guy the ink stands guy you were talking about? And basically, ink stands and Air would just start fighting. Air to keep Izuku alive, and ink stands to kill Air. And, well, as for that, basically, their fight would get so damn intense that nobody would be able to, like, freaking perceive their movements. Even Izuku, as hard as he was trying, it would be, like, physically straining and painful for him to try to keep up. And he'd just be like, so this is Dad's power. And to think, I can still feel more flowing through me. After all that time, all that work, must be something special. But that guy, I really don't like that guy. There's something wrong about that guy. And it just basically, at the last second, like, Air would think he had finally managed to, like, actually 100% foolproof protect, Izuku. That's whenever he basically, like, Hashirama pulled on him. And you guys know what I mean whenever I say Hashirama. Like, literally do get, like, a ching, like, right in the back. And just looks at Air with complete and total disgust. And Air would just be like, Ink, what the fuck? And Ink would just be like, anything to save the AUs, Air. Anything to save the AUs. And this would drive Izuku, like, over the freaking moon with anger and hatred. And basically, it would get to the point to where he would actually reach a new form, which is what allows him to possess his godlike abilities that are latent within him. And that would be his Era 404 form. And basically, it would just be completely insane. And kind of like just like kick the crap out of Ink. And it would kind of be like a God of War thing where it was like Kratos versus Ares. And Ares is kind of like begging for mercy, and Kratos would be like, I'm going to kill you. And that's basically what happens. Izuku in his 404 mode, he kind of just pulls a Kratos versus Ares on Ink's ass. Like, right as dude's about to freaking cave in anyways. Like, like, it's like a bloody massacre of this dude's body. Like, he just freaking destroyed him. And then he pulls some Piccolo versus freaking Cell bullshit with like some freaking light grenade gaster blaster. I was like, boosh! And then next thing you see, like, the entire training ground is freaking destroyed, like a model city freaking obliterated, like you pull out some freaking Exodia bullshit. And, well, yeah, that would be the rest. That would be the end of Ink. And, well, Error was also gone, basically. So, yeah, that would be it for part one, because I could see basically the rest of this part being, well, basically Izuku going, over to his house. And though he would eventually get the acceptance letter, he'd be rather mute. And as soon as Inko would figure out why this was, why he was being so distant, and why Error hadn't really seemed to come back, basically, Izuku would show her the footage, show her the footage, and basically, when the footage blacked out, would basically happen whenever Izuku summoned that big ass light grenade, freaking Gaster Blaster, to destroy freaking Era's corpse and Ink's whatever the hell was left of him after he got freaking Kratos versus Ares to near death. And basically, finally, after getting this moment of closure, talking with Inko, basically, how like talk about how everybody eventually loses somebody, like no one's really immortal, like give him the talk. Finally, Izuku would cool down enough to finally get out of his 404 form, and basically, you just hear Inko start to choke, and Izuku would realize his power in the 404 form, he could not control it in the slightest. So, yeah. Basically, Izuku realizing just how powerful he really is, or at least beginning to realize just the tiniest pebble in the ocean of his power. Only really accessing the 404 form because he got Super Saiyan level pissed. Yeah, so... Oh, and in both instances, someone died. Super Saiyan, it was Krillin. This, it was Error. So, yeah. I'm basically going to leave this off here. I'll see them doses good. Dark Star Memories. Always here, your boys like, favorite, subscribe. Tuck that little bell. I don't think it's good, blue sweat shoes. Eat and I'll eat. Mr. Action. Oh my god. The way I look doing that with this on my head. Anyways. Deuces.